should have asked before now. Is it okay if I use dirty words?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I should have asked that way earlier. I also realized that in order for this to really land and make sense, it is important that you know I have a 4.5-month-old daughter, or else the whole thing will just be confusing, and I don't think I ever said that in the course of the thing I wrote. Except for this first line. On behalf of my baby daughter, I would like to apologize to myself. And also my wife, I guess, but mostly myself. I'll take it a step further and say, actually, on behalf of all babies, I would like to apologize to all parents. Here's the thing that's hard to explain about being the parent of a baby. It sucks. Now comes the point when I feel compelled to say that I love my baby very much. I love being a dad, blah, 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 greatest thing in my life, blah, blah, blah. But the fact is, I can love my baby and also think that taking care of my baby sucks. It's been said before that caring for a baby is like trying to take care of a super drunk friend. And this is a very apt comparison in many ways. My baby screams incoherently, can't stand up straight, and routinely throws up on herself. The difference is, the next morning, my baby doesn't call me to apologize and thank me for taking care of her. When we first brought my daughter home, we had some real rough nights. Admittedly, the first couple nights, I made it rough on myself. I just couldn't sleep. A dozen times a night, I would get up and just stare at my baby in the dim light to make sure she was still breathing. Because at that point, she was very quiet. After that, though, she took over the duty of keeping me awake. For 4 weeks straight, she would scream for 5 hours straight from 10 p.m. till 3 a.m. The only time she was not screaming is when she was eating. Then, at 3 a.m., like magic, she'd go to sleep. It was as if she had just finished her shift at the Scream Factory and was clocking out for the night. The most frustrating part of this marathon scream sesh is that babies are very difficult to reason with. A brief scene. Honey, you're upset because you're tired. Just go to sleep and you'll feel better. Scream. Daddy is doing his best and he doesn't know what to do. Scream. I will give you $1,000 to stop screaming. Screaming continues. I mentioned on Twitter that my baby screaming at me was starting to chip away at my sanity. And someone, trying to be helpful, responded, just remember how much she loves you. Excuse me, but this is horseshit. First off, at the time, my baby was 1 month old. I would be amazed if she could pick me out of a lineup, let alone feel actual feelings of love towards me. But also, more importantly, so what? Do you think that my baby screaming at me is stressing me out because I think she hates me? No, she's screaming at me because she is a baby. And being a baby sucks. It's not about love or hate or anger or hunger. It's about dealing with a screaming human being, and screaming human beings are very stressful. There's a weird pressure to always follow up complaining about how hard dealing with a baby is to say something like, but I wouldn't change it for the world. From what I understand, our baby is on the easier end of the scale. She sleeps great, two 4-hour chunks a night, it's great, and only cries when she's hungry. But let me tell you this, there's still stuff I would change. First off, do you know what a blowout is? Now, this might get a little blue, but let's just call it a diaper jailbreak. It's hard to convey the thoughts that go through your mind when you go to change your baby's diaper, and instead find a very out-of-control situation that no human being should ever have to deal with. All the while, my baby is smiling and laughing her fucking face off. Admittedly, were I in her position instead of mine, I would also probably think it was pretty funny. Second, babies are clumsy and dumb and have no sense of self-preservation. I can't even begin to count the number of times I've been holding my baby and she has attempted to springboard out of my arms. Does she know something I don't? What is her plan? Has she hidden a parachute in her diaper when I was not looking? It makes my heart jump every time she does it, and I honestly think she's doing it to fuck with me. I've had parents with older children say to me that I should enjoy this time while it lasts. Now, maybe they're trying to be encouraging, I'm not sure. But I always interpret that as, yep, it sucks now, but it's gonna get a whole lot worse. Now, I should say, I love my daughter very much, and being a dad is great, and it's the best thing I've ever done with my life. But it's also the hardest thing I've ever done with my life. In the span of one day, I went from being an adult with my own desires and agenda to working for the most demanding boss I've ever had in my entire life for zero pay. Everything operates on her schedule now. All plans are made around feedings and naps. I love when I make my daughter smile, but I hate when I can't figure out why she's screaming. She rolled herself over for the first time, and I was over the moon. But it came at the cost of putting her on her tummy and having her scream at me for what felt like days, but I think was 5 minutes. The trick is allowing yourself to get frustrated without getting frustrated at your kid. It's not your kid's fault that being a parent sucks, because being a baby sucks too. I promise that when your baby is screaming, they are also very frustrated. The whole scenario is frustrating for everyone involved. So, on behalf of my baby daughter, breathe. Keep breathing. Of course you're frustrated. The situation is frustrating. On behalf of all babies, don't feel bad if you are frustrated. They apologize, and they love you.